This video is going to be about resetting hips. It's a physical technique that you can do yourself anywhere and at any time. The main reason for doing it is just to alleviate some back pain or hip pain, and also it's a good thing to do if you're having a leg day workout and you want to make sure you want to do your best to make sure you have proper alignment with both legs. Sometimes you may have a physical structural issue that makes one leg longer than the other, and if it's something to do with the actual physical structure such as bones, then there's not much you can do. But other times, if one leg is longer than the other, it may be just one muscle group may be tight or one muscle group may be weak, and this is just one way that it's like a quick reset where you can do your best to kind of even it out as far as leg length, and eliminates possible discrepancies in one leg being longer than the other. It's just a quick temporary solution, and again also it helps kind of with back pain and hip pain. So how it's done is, first you go to any flat surface where it's stable, such as a ground or on an exercise mat, and just pretty much anywhere. I would suggest, as long as the ground is stable where you're doing it, then you'll be fine. And you can do it yourself, or if you want someone else to provide the resistance, then you can have a partner provide the resistance. Either way will work. And what you do first is you lay on your back, and then the first step is to clear the hips. There are two different ways this can be done. The first way is just raising the glutes off the ground as your upper back and your legs are fixed on the ground. And the second way to reset, or to clear the hips, that is to bring one leg to the chest, okay, knees to the chest, then the other leg knees to the chest, and then both legs knees to the chest, and then bring them back down. Okay, it's just flexing at the hip, bringing your knees to your chest. So both ways will clear the hips first, and then the actual resetting process will occur. And the video will show that what you do first is you use your hands and forearms as the resistance. First, I take my left hand, place it underneath my left hip and above my right hip. It looks kind of like an arm bar, and you imagine like snapping a bar in half. So the left hip will push down and the right hip will push up. It's like two opposing forces. It's kind of like, imagine breaking your arm, but I mean, don't really try to do that actually. Just provide enough resistance so that one is pushing one way, one is pushing the other way, and then you hold that position of like one hip pushing down, one hip pushing up for about 5 seconds. I just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then relax. And then I take my right arm, I put the right arm in between, okay, under the right hip and above the left hip. Okay, it's another arm bar. Okay, one of my hips is pushing down, the other hip is pushing up at the same time. Okay, while that's going on, the arm is still in between, and it's like, again, trying to imagine snapping a bar in half. Okay, two opposing forces, and then you create kind of like an isometric resistance. Okay, there's not really any movement so much as just two forces opposing each other, and then you hold that for a 5-second count and then relax. Then the next part will be placing both arms around the knees. Okay, it's like giving a bear hug to your knees, and then locking your fingers together. Okay, it's like embracing, and you're hugging your knees. Then while that's going on, what you're gonna do is push your knees out. Okay, it's like that machine at the gym where you push out with your hips, and it's called hip abduction, out with hips. So you're doing isometrically, so there's not really much movement, it's just pressing against a resistance. And you do that for a count of 5. Then after you do the bear hug type resistance, take one arm, right or left, and place it in between your knees, in the inside this time. So I use my right hand. The right hand goes inside the knees. My right hand is pushing against my left knee, and my elbow is pushing against my right knee. So it's like putting a piece of wood in between, like a clamp type thing. And I'm pushing my forearms together with both my hips. Okay, knees pushing inward. So it's like the adduction machine at the gym, where you bring your knees closer together, you bring your hips closer together. So I'm pushing in isometrically, no real movement, just resisting the force. And then I hold that for a count of 5. Then I go back to the bear hug, hip abduction, and while I'm doing these, the first two, I usually try to, if I can, if I'm flexible enough, lay back and just have my back against the mat or the ground while I'm doing the bear hug type hip abduction. And then I do another 5 count, pushing out with my knees, abducting my hips. I'm not really going through the full range of motion, I'm just pushing against the resistance of my arms. Then go back to inside. This time, instead of using my whole forearm and hands and elbows, what I do is I take both arms and I just use both my fists. Put one left fist in between both my knees. The left fist is against my left knee and the right fist is against my right knee. Then I squeeze together. Okay, squeeze the knees together. It's like pushing against both your fists, and your fists are side by side. And I squeeze for a count of 5, then relax. Then I go back to the outside again, bear hug my knees. This time I do it a little bit closer. I don't have a big, wide embrace. I bring the arms a little bit closer. And then I hold for a count of 5. As I'm holding, my arms are wrapped around my knees. I'm pushing my knees outward, and my arms are resisting the movement of my hips. Then after that 5 count and relax, I put just one fist this time, just right or left, in between my knees. And then I squeeze my one fist with both my knees. Okay, the inside of the knees is touching the fist, is squeezing, hold for a count of 5. Then I relax. And then that's it. That's clearing the hips. And after that, you can do the rest of your warm-up, leg warm-up, or whatever else you would do for a leg day.